Hi, everybody. It's Jessica Cloud, and I am so glad that you are joining us today to talk about branding your Phonathon. We're going to go ahead and get started with some basic introduction material. And if you have any issues, you'll just log into the Google Hangouts and you can send me a chat message or a question. And we will take a couple of question breaks today to give you an opportunity to share information or ask questions about the content. So I like to start off these webinars by letting you know who exactly are you getting information from today. So my name is Jessica Cloud. I'm a certified fundraising executive, and I am currently the Vice President of Advancement at Star King School for the Ministry. I love to teach about fundraising, though, and just really have a more analytical perspective on the work that I do. So I write at realdealfundraising.com, and I like to kind of look back on my own history, where I've spent over 10 years or more doing Phonathon work and annual giving. And it's where I've spent most of my career. So I like to offer resources in that area, and I think it's an area that people really need a lot of support. It's usually where you're getting your start in advancement or fundraising work, and I would like to make it easy for you to have success so that you can move on and do great things in our industry. So today we're going to talk about branding your Phonathon. So I want to walk you through a little bit thinking about why this is an important thing that you would want to do. So I want you to think about when a student on your campus tells somebody else that they work at the call center, what images are conjured in the minds of those other students? Do you think that they're confused, that they don't really know what goes on at the call center? That's not a great thing, because they're probably, not going to apply if they are confused. Hesitancy does not mean that you're going to take action. So what if they liken it to something boring, like working in a drive-thru? Do they see it as drudgery? Or is it seen as a place where student leaders work on your campus? So whatever it is, I want you to think about, what is the image you want there to be of your call center on campus? What would you like to create? And understand that you can change it starting right now. So whatever image it is that you want to create, you can do it. So I had a very simple desire at the University of South Carolina. I worked there with Ruffalo Cody, now Ruffalo Noel Levitz, and I had a lot of callers to recruit. We had 36 calling stations, and I had to recruit about 83 callers per semester was my target number. And I wanted to be the best job on campus. That was my very simple branding message that I wanted to create. And I said about creating that image. And a lot of what I learned is going to be put into this webinar today for you to learn. So think about what image you'd like to create. We're going to talk about some possibilities for that and the different messages you can get out there about the call center. Before we do that, though, I want to talk about, so what? Why would you even begin to undertake this rebranding project for your call center? It will make staffing so much easier for you. Students will begin to come to you. You won't have to go out and put out quite as much messaging. You won't have to be so aggressive, and you'll still be able to be very selective in your hiring. You'll be able to spend less time and less of your budget onboarding new callers, because you will retain more callers and you will bring on better callers. You'll be able to work with callers who are fun and productive. I can't emphasize this enough. Callers who are more successful and work with their friends, and there's a fun atmosphere. They're going to be more fun to work with. They're going to be less grouchy and more into raising money, and you're going to have more success because you're going to be hiring more talented students, student leaders, and you're going to be more productive. And most importantly, I do want to answer the question of what's in it for you. You're going to be able to increase your prestige among your campus partners, and you're going to further your own career. You're going to get promoted because of your work that you're going to do. And it all starts with branding the call center, because that changes staffing. And so instead of being on that constant hamster wheel of turnover, you hire students, they leave, and you need to go find and hire more. You can instead rest assured that the seats are full with great students, and you can spend your time coaching those students, undertaking statistical analysis, doing creative calling assignments, and other work that's going to raise more dollars. And that is going to send you into really an upward spiral, personally and professionally. So that's what this whole project is about today. And I hope that you're going to find this information useful. I know a lot of people say if you attend a webinar and you get one good idea, that is enough. I say, no way. I want you to have a whole list of action items when you leave this webinar that you can go out and begin to tackle. Even if you have a good reputation on campus for your call center and you feel okay about it, I want you to leave still with a list of how to make it great, how to make it outstanding, and how to be the best job on campus. So let's begin. What constitutes being the best job on campus? Well, here are 10 things that I think most call centers offer that make it the best job on campus. It's really unparalleled with working at the library or getting a job, swiping IDs at the student health center or something. This is really why you're the best job on campus. It certainly beats waiting tables. It certainly beats, being in retail anywhere. And I think that we don't talk about some of these aspects of call center work enough. The first one is mission. And there's some really interesting research that is specific to call centers that Adam Grant did in his book, Give and Take. And he looked at caller motivation, and he found that, performance was triggered most deeply for students by getting a visit from a scholarship recipient and hearing their story. You can also replicate it by having them read letters from a scholarship recipient and talking about the difference that made in their life. But it means that they're mission driven. So even students who will tell you they're working for beer money are really interested in being part of something that makes a change in someone's life. And that's what the money that we raise in our call centers does. So the more that we can talk about that and tap into impact and tap into mission in our marketing materials, we're going to attract a different kind of student. So this is something you need to kind of bring into your calculus when you're creating your marketing materials. Pay is definitely important. And if you are able to say that you're the best paid job on campus, that is invaluable. But if you're not the best paid job on campus, that is not a deal breaker. You can still really compensate with these other items, these other benefits and perks to make up for that. However, if you're really concerned about pay and the ability of you to pay your job relative to other careers on campus, I would let you know that you should undertake a benchmarking study. This is what I really recommend. So have you or your student supervisors call around to all the nearby off-campus jobs where students might get a position and the popular on-campus jobs. You might get some help from the Career Center or something like that, but create a little benchmarking study of where you fall in that lineup. And you can use that information to lobby for higher pay for your callers. But if that is just not a possibility at your institution, it's okay. You can still market yourself as the best job on campus by emphasizing some of these other benefits and perks that are on this slide. Flexible scheduling, I think, is something we try to market sometimes, but often we don't do a great job about it. You've got to say that most of the time your students are not required to work spring break. They're not going to be required to work in the winter break, whereas they might, if they're working at an off-campus position, they would be required to come back and put in hours during those busy times, especially with retail. But also usually students can take off if they need to study for a test. There's usually a procedure for how to do that at the call center. And we need to market those things, that this can work around their class schedule really well and their extracurricular activities. It's important. Skill development. Skill development is, I think, one of the things that we don't talk about enough, and really beginning to do that in your marketing materials, in the interview process, in your training. These students are going to be exposed to skill development in the realm of negotiation, building rapport with a wide variety of diverse people when they're on the phones. They are going to learn how to overcome objections. They're going to learn how to handle rejection well. And they're going to learn to be coachable and take a note and get better as they progress and develop leadership skills in the call center. So we don't talk about those skills very much. So some of these students might be interested in a long-term career in philanthropy and nonprofits, and some will not. But the skills that they're going to get as a student caller are unparalleled and applicable to a wide variety of fields. So begin talking about that in your marketing materials to recruit students right away. Community. Call centers are fantastic places. I am still friends 15 years later with the students that I started working with at the University of Southern Mississippi in 1999. Someone that I sat behind in a training session is still a friend of mine on Facebook. I keep up with her, and you really develop these relationships with the students that you're calling with. It's a fun place to work, and it's a place where you can kind of go through it together and learn it all together. So community is something that I would advertise and talk about from the get-go. Leadership opportunities. It is it's not simply a matter of that you can be a caller and then become a student supervisor. You don't want to create a situation where everybody's in this mad dash to become a student supervisor, because they want to get off the phone so they can be a student supervisor or make a little more money and get off the phone. That's not healthy for your call center. What you can do is create mini career paths through your call center where the students start calling only non-donors or future donors, and they build their chops there, and then they move to being a donor caller. That's a mini promotion. And then from there, they can become a caller mentor, and they can help orient your new students when they get on the phone. From there, if you have administrative positions that you need students to kind of call sometimes, but also supervise getting letters out, that's a promotional opportunity. You can also, if you're lucky enough to have a big call center, and employ a student trainer to help you with training or with HR paperwork. That's another promotional opportunity, and they would still be calling sometimes. So begin to create these career paths that you can talk about, and promote the fact that you have multiple leadership opportunities in your call center. Career support. Again, this is something I think is a real hidden benefit in the call center. We work very intensely with our students, especially if they stay more than a few weeks at the call center. You really get to know as a manager what they're good at and what they're not so great at. And over time, they're going to build a portfolio of really impressive statistics that they're going to be able to put on their resume, and you can give them access to in real time. So you can tell them exactly how much money they've raised for the institution, and they can put that into their resume. And I would even recommend, I'm going to recommend that you host a resume workshop for your current callers, and let them know you can help them format their resume correctly and tweak it so that it's really the best it can be, but also that you're going to help them market their job as a student caller and be able to put that on their resume so that it looks the best and emphasizes the skills they've developed and puts that quantitative data in there to show what they've been able to do at your center. So really letting your students know that you've got their back, that you'll write them letters of recommendation, that you'll be a reference for them for future career opportunities, for scholarships that they're applying for graduate school if they're going to grad school. Let them know you have high expectations for your callers, but let them know that you have their back as well, that you're going to help them make this call center opportunity go as far as possible for them in their careers. Resume building, I kind of talked about that. That goes hand in hand with career support. So it's the tandem swing of, you want it to look great on their resume, but you also want to let them know that you're going to help them develop those skills and market those skills by writing letters of recommendation for them and so forth. So those are the twin sides of that. And free food and bonuses and prizes. I mean, this is what call centers are really known for. And a lot of times we do market this, but it is really something you shouldn't leave out because it makes call centers really unique. I mean, how many places can you go to work and not only are you earning your hourly wage, but you're getting free pizza and free cupcakes a lot of the time, and you're working towards earning a gift certificate, and you leave that night with a free t-shirt and swag for winning the contest or a game. So this is part of what makes call centers unique. So do make sure you don't leave it out, even though it appears superficial, but you want to balance it with those other really, those career development things and the things like flexible scheduling and mission and community that makes it really substantive as well. So we're going to talk a bit about how to, once you've decided what your brand is going to be, how do you get that brand out there and make it something real where it's going to help you recruit callers? Well, the first and most important thing is word of mouth. Word of mouth is the way that you will be able to pull in new callers that are attracted to this brand of the best job on campus. So your current callers have to understand that the call center is an amazing place to work. So you have to make that real for your current callers. So how do you do that? You focus on retention. You do those things that I talked about where you've got your callers back. So it doesn't mean you become a pushover. It doesn't mean that you let people just have days off when they want them and you don't enforce your attendance policy or you don't enforce your policies for call quality. It means that you hold them to a high standard, and it means that you're going to have their back. You're going to help them with their career development. You're going to write letters of recommendation for them. You're going to make the games in the call center fun. You're going to give them prizes. You're going to make it as great a place to work as you possibly can. And then really you're going to activate that word of mouth by considering referral bonuses or a prize for the caller that brings in the most referrals. That's whatever you can do budgetarily. Try to activate your callers to go out and find you friends and acquaintances that would make great student caller colleagues for them. So this is really where the rubber meets the road here with referral bonuses, because referral bonuses are honestly magical. I had a lot of qualms about them when I first encountered this idea. I didn't want people to bring me a caller that wasn't great and then I have to hot fire someone's friend. I didn't want that to happen. I didn't want my call center to become cliquish. But in fact, the opposite happened. My students knew that I was not a pushover and that I would get rid of a caller who was not performing or abiding by our standards. So they only brought me the best. They only brought me their friends that they knew would be great callers. And then, that became a community. That was what helped us build a community. And the callers wanted to come to work because they were working with their friends. They knew that it would be fun, that they would have a good time that night, and that they would all help each other make the best calls and raise money, that it would be, really fun. So word of mouth, and that's how you begin to activate it, is that you are what you say you are, and then you incentivize your students who are currently there to go out and find more great students like them. It's really that simple. From there, you are still probably going to have to do some more traditional marketing of your brand, meaning you're doing social media, you're writing emails that go out broad scale to the student population. You might be creating flyers, you might be creating ads in the student newspaper. So you're going to need words and images to communicate your brand. And I will, before I really get into this, I need you to understand that all of the taglines and benefits and perks that you're going to be putting into these ads are great, and that's what's going to get people interested. But your call to action should always be apply today. Apply today. That's what you want them to do. That's the takeaway. We don't want them to inquire about the job or call you. We want them to go online to your online web application and submit an application so that you can then invite them to an interview. That's what you want to do. So keep that as your focus, that you should always have in your ads the call to action and the application website so they know exactly what you want them to do. So, but to build the case, that you do want them to apply, that to make them believe that they want to apply, you need words and images. So we're going to talk about both of those. To get your words, you really have a ready-made focus group. You have a group of current callers, some veteran callers or student supervisors that you can use to help you develop the best possible words that are going to resonate with your student population. So I would challenge you to take the slide that listed the 10 perks and benefits of a call center job and create a bunch of taglines based off of this. And then, I'm going to give you some examples of these. And then I want you to take that to your callers and create a bunch of them. Create 50, 60, 80, and put them in front of your callers and have them highlight their favorites. You might be surprised which ones sort of resonate and which ones don't. So that's a good way to really pull in some language that's going to work and be short enough to put in your ads, but work with your student population. And here is a real shortcut for you. Name your group like it's a student organization. So at South Carolina, we were the Carolina Callers, and we had a real distinctive logo, which I'll show you in a couple minutes. And the call center, the XYZ University Call Center is a place. That's a place where a certain type of work happens. The Carolina Callers is a student organization. It's something that they are a part of. They join. It's an identity, like being part of a student organization or sorority or fraternity or a team. So this is a real shortcut, because if somebody says, I'm a Carolina Caller, I'm proud to be a Carolina Caller, or this type of student who's in the Student Government Association is also a Carolina Caller, that's a shortcut. That is social proof, and that's something that they can join and be and do, rather than a place that they go to work, which is the call center. Collect caller testimonials. Have callers answer the question, what does the call center mean to you? Or what does being a Carolina Caller mean to you? Or I love being a caller because, finish that sentence. Collect those testimonials, do some little forms, and have them submit those back in. Some of them will not be great. Some of them will be fun. I like eating free pizza. I love being a caller because we get free pizza. But some will be more substantive and more interesting, and you can kind of pull those out and use them with your imagery to create some really powerful ads for working there. Now, your images, it's really important that you utilize some simple graphic design standards. Don't use too many fonts. Make sure that everything is clear and not crowded, that there's enough white space and your call to action sticks out. All of those graphic design basics, look up some of that stuff. I will let you know, I discovered a great tool recently. It's Canva. It's an online graphic design tool and makes it really easy to create a lot of JPEGs and images with text and imagery. You can create some memes to use on Facebook and Twitter so that you can get your message out. But check that out. It's canva.com, and it's free to utilize, and I think that you'll find it really useful and fun. So take a lot of photographs of your current callers. It's really easy today to get photos with your iPhone or a simple camera. A simple digital camera will be really easy. But tell your callers to have a day where they're wearing the school colors or the school t-shirts. Take some group photos. Take photos of them at their calling stations with their headsets on. Take photos of callers together. All of that stuff, and collect a whole bunch more than you think you need, and you can pick your favorites. I will caution, don't use school colors for your flyers, because you're going to be on a wall with a bunch of other flyers or in someone's mailbox with a bunch of other flyers. So don't use school colors, and for heaven's sakes, don't use white, because you will just disappear. So I used to pick fluorescent colored flyers. I would pick bright pink or really highlighter colored green for my flyers, so that you couldn't help but notice them. So I will say, as an aside, a funny story, make sure that you're not picking the color of a rival school. I accidentally at South Carolina purchased bright orange one time, and if you know anything about the SEC, you know that Clemson is South Carolina's arch rival, their in-state rival, and their colors were orange. And I never heard the end of it. So make sure that you don't do that. I had to throw away all of the orange paper, and I promised them I would never buy it again. I still really can't buy orange paper today. I'm so traumatized by it. So don't be too serious either. Pick up on the whatever the funny new meme is that's online, and ping off of that and make it call center specific. I saw some call center ads that were off of Honey Boo Boo and A Dollar Make Me Holler. I've seen some Grumpy Cat call center memes. Make sure that you're putting all that stuff out there. People will know that you're at a fun place. It's not super serious to work at, and it'll get you a lot of attention on social media. And what I like to do, and I'm going to show you some examples of this, is use your imagery to communicate the perks that you might not have room for in words, because obviously you can't have 10 bullet points that hit all of those various benefits that we talked about. So you want to use your imagery to communicate non-verbally what you don't have room for on your bullet points. So I'll give you some examples of that afterwards. But I do want to pause right now, and if anyone has any questions, you put those into the chat box or the Q&A. Got Q&A right here. And the chat box. Uh-oh. Screen sharing, come back, please. Chat. So I'll wait just a second and see if anybody else has any questions. And if not, we'll move on. If anybody has any questions, put them in, and I'll have another question break at the end. So we're going to proceed, and we're going to look at some examples of how we can start to pair the language and the imagery to create some good marketing messaging. So here's one of my Carolina callers, and you see our logo. We utilized a Coca-Cola font because we had the double C. So it became sort of a signature. They still use this sometimes today. Our tagline was the voice of Carolina. And when we weren't using the voice of Carolina, we said the best job on campus. So depending on what we were doing, we were really either hitting the fact that we were talking to lots of alums and we were the biggest public relations arm of the university, or we were really pulling in the idea that we were the best job on campus. So this one obviously hits the pay idea and the resume building. But we're also looking at a very happy caller who is smiling, and she's got her headset on, and you can tell that she's comfortable. She's in the air conditioning. You know, this is going to be, you know, a comfortable job for students, and you're going to make a lot of money while you're at it. So, like, why not? If you can talk to people, why not apply? So that's how we can start to pair the imagery up with our language and our taglines. So this one, we got 3 taglines with, you know, we've got room to grow and get promoted, leadership opportunities, win gift certificates and other prizes, pick the days you want to work. We have a flexible schedule here. And then we have 2 callers, so we have community. They're obviously having fun. They're giving the thumbs up. They're really endorsing the call center in this picture, and they just look like they're having a great time. So we're really hitting the fact that this is a fun place to work with community, and that they're, you know, working and they're not too serious. It's a fun place to be. Here's an example of a caller testimonial. And, you know, it's always nice to have a great looking picture of a student. While we're focusing in on this student who looks very professional and put together, we also have the call center behind them. We can see that it's a busy place, that there's lots of other students there. It's clearly a fun place to work. And we have this great quote, you know, I'm grateful for working for the Belmont Raisers because it's an organization that helps students like me afford a Belmont University education. So we're hitting identity and community because we have the name of the call center as a student organization. We are talking about mission, which is great. We're obviously, she's looking very professional, and she's attacking her work with gusto there. So we have skill development, but she looks happy, like it's a great place to work, and she's got the community of other callers behind her. And so we have lots of stuff there. And because you're putting their class The students will also see, okay, they're not just hiring upperclassmen, they're hiring, underclassmen as well, or whatever. So making sure that you're mixing that up and showing a variety of students. Here's another example coming up. We have another student who's very engaged in their work. He's obviously talking to a prospect right now. We don't see a lot of the community behind him though, so we're going to balance that with his quote. So I'm glad that I joined the California Callers. All my friends work here. It's a fun place to earn money. And the call center manager really understands what I'm good at and is willing to write letters of recommendation for me. So we are hitting the community. We're hitting that it's a great place to earn money. We're talking about skill development, resume building, career support. And he's looking really professional and he's talking to people. So it's a fun place to work and a good thing to do. So all of this, again, is really balancing it out. And even if you don't have pictures of your callers, if all your callers are gone for the summer, you don't have photos yet, that's okay. Use some really classic clip art that's fun but not super cheesy. So we get the smiley face with the headset. Fine, perfect. It's iconic, doesn't clutter things up. We have our call to action at the top. Join the California Callers, apply today. It's the best job on campus. And then we back that up with 5 things that give us examples of why. And then we have the web address to apply in a different color. And make sure on my blog today, I talk about having good website URLs, making sure that they're simple, that you can say them out loud to somebody and they could remember it, or that it's easy to remember when you see it. So californiacallers.com/apply. So it could be usc.edu/callers or something to that effect, something easy, simple that somebody could see on a flyer and type it in later, no problem. So again, this is how you can really begin to put it all together and format it into a Facebook ad, format it into an ad in the student newspaper, put it together in a flyer format, whatever you want to do, and making sure that you're really branding this. And this combined, again, with a referral bonus or some sort of incentive structure for your current callers to help you recruit, this is going to be a really powerful tool for rebranding your call center. And also, working a retention plan in with this, and then you're just going to triple your results. You're going to have, a great culture change in your call center, either from meh to good or from good to great, or all the way from meh to great. It could really change what you're doing into an upward spiral. So I hope this has given you some ideas to how to put this together. And I want to just review some takeaways that I think that you can walk away from this knowing that you can take control of the brand of your call center. You can change how it's perceived on your campus. It's something that you can definitely do, and you can do it right now. You can activate that word of mouth by focusing on caller retention and by offering an incentive to your current callers in the form of a referral bonus or a referral contest or something like that. Use your current callers as a focus group for your testimonials and for your tagline language. Use images that convey those benefits of working in the call center without having a word on them. And name your group to sound like a student organization. I can't tell you what a great shortcut this is. So if any of you are currently named as if you're a student organization, if you want to drop that into the chat box, that would be great. Or send it to me via email if you don't have the chat function today. And I will share them with the rest of the group, because I think it's a really good to look at other people and how they're naming their call center and get ideas for how you can rebrand. Balance the words and images to cover as many of those perks as possible without overburdening your ad with too many words, too much text. And make your job the best job on campus. That's important, that you actually do what you say you're going to do, and that you really are what you say you are. Now, so what? We're going to return to our so what, so that you can again look at, because maybe you got way too many ideas and you need to understand again why I want to undertake this project of branding my call center. Again, it's going to make your task of staffing much easier so you can be selective and throw your call center into that upward spiral where you have time. You're not always chasing new hires. You have time to do the data analysis, this re-scripting, tweaking those scripts and making them better, training your callers and doing continuing education with them, working with your student supervisors to coach callers in a more productive way. That's going to make you raise more money, and all of that is just going to be a positive spiral. Ultimately, it's going to further your own career and help you have fun in what you're doing now so that you can move on and do other great things in the philanthropy space. Here is a slide, and I will be sending you a PDF of all of these slides after our session today, and I'll also be sending you a video of the webinar, and so you can review all of these items later. But write at least 50 job benefit taglines for your call center, and then have your callers go through them and pick their favorites. Have your current callers identify the top 10. Acquire images of your callers to use for recruitment. If you can't get images of your callers right now, then find some classic clip art of some sort that you have the rights to use. Name your call center like it's a student organization. Get quotes and testimonials from your callers. You can do this even via distance. You can do this on social media or via email with your students. Try to get those quotes. And create your marketing materials. And then implement a retention plan to activate your word of mouth and really build a community in your call center. So that's plenty of things, I think, to keep you busy. I do hope that this was useful for you today and that you got a lot out of this session on branding your call center. I do want to let you know that I have produced an ebook. If staffing is something that's on your mind, I produced an ebook. It launched yesterday, and it is called How to Staff Your Phonathon Super Fast, the 7 Secrets to Fill the Seats. And in this ebook, I think that it's really going to revolutionize a lot of people's call centers. We're going to help you find staffing targets using data, find out exactly how many callers you need to hire and how many applications you need to generate. You're going to brand your Phonathon, and it's a lot of additional content to what is in this webinar today. I actually have an appendices that has pages and pages of sample taglines, so you don't even need to recreate the wheel. I've got sample testimonials and sample taglines for you to look through right there in this book. We're going to tell you all of the best ways to generate lots of applications fast so that you get only the best candidates and you can interview them fast and quickly. You also design an interview process that make it easy to hire callers that fit with your call center culture and stay employed for longer, what I call hiring for retention. So this is going to, again, put you in that upward spiral where you don't have to hire and train quite so much. I'm going to give you a method to interview all of those applicants in one evening, believe it or not, and get them hired fast so that you can quit staffing and start raising money. And again, we're gonna work on all of this so you can love your job and grow your career in philanthropy. I've got lots of samples and templates. So if you purchase this book, in the appendices, you don't have to even think about, well, what does an email look like that I'm going to send to a candidate that I don't want to hire? What's an email look like to somebody that doesn't meet our requirements because they're not because they're a work study student and I can't hire work study? I've got it all in there for you. I've written all of those email templates. All you have to do is type them in and adapt them. So again, don't spend another year spinning your wheels. Break your cycle of caller turnover for good. And I am offering today, since you guys came to my very first webinar, I'm giving a coupon code for 20% off. That makes this ebook, which is almost 60 pages worth of fantastic content that's going to change the way that you staff your Phonathon this year. The coupon code is FILLSEATS, FILLSEATS. And that brings the price of this book down to $40. And I'm telling you, everything that I have put into it, it's pretty much everything I know about staffing a call center, and it's going to change the way that you do it. Some of it changed the way I did at South Carolina, and then we really just continued to transform our staffing methods, and it's all in there. It's really pretty much a ready-made thing going right now. So I'm just going to check in and see if we've had any more questions here. I don't see any questions in the chat box or in the question module here. So if you have any questions, feel free, though, to email me after this session. I am available, and you can reach me through my website, realdealfundraising.com. There's a contact us field there, and that comes straight to my email, which I get all the time. So I would love to hear if you have success in rebranding your call center. If you utilize these techniques and it's working for you, please let me know. I want to know what else you would like to know about this topic or staffing in general. And I want to know what doesn't work too. If anything doesn't work that I've recommended or you're having trouble, let me know. I want to help. I'm very interested in teaching in this space and helping people succeed in Phonathon. So also, I do want to give you a little heads up that if you sign up to subscribe to Real Deal Fundraising, you will get a free ebook that is my 15 favorite call center games. And it tells you not just how to do the call center game, but also why it's a great call center game and what's good about it and how to think about call center games in general and caller motivation in general. So you'll get that, and you'll also be apprised when I roll out new products. I am planning to do another ebook like my super fast Phonathon staffing. I'm going to do an ebook on training called Training Incredible Young Fundraisers. And so it's really rethinking how you do your caller training, great ideas for mock calling practice, and how to onboard your callers in the best way possible and do continuing education over time with them. So I'm so glad that you all attended today, and I hope that this was really useful for you. I hope that we'll enter into a dialogue and that we will learn from each other's experiences. And I hope that you will communicate with me at realdealfundraising.com. So unless we have any more questions, I'll stay on for a couple more minutes in case there's more questions. And otherwise, have a great day, and thank you so much for attending.